Alright. Welcome back mga kameta. Alam ko na-miss nyo ka ako. Kaya nabulol na. Nabulol na. Daming ganap over the past 48 hours. Kaya pasensya na, was not able to join you guys kahapon. But I said today I'll make sure na I-join you guys kasi kasama dyan sa 48 hours ay mga 20 hours ay nasa traffic. At alam nyo naman, hindi katulad ng mga malaking confidential fund, hindi katulad ng mga totoong konyo na yayamanin, hindi katulad ng mga anak ng oligarchs or yung mga bayaran na ano, wala tayong driver, wala tayong ano, sariling sikap lang tayo guys, sariling sikap lang tayo. Dahil kahit yung mga patay gutom na vloggers na bayaran ay kung ano nang sinasabi, tayo po ay sariling sikap. Talagang pwede na tayo mag-nominee ng Ilocano ako, 'di ba? Pwede na pala ako mag-nominate Ilocano ako party list kasi yun nga alam na natin this guys. So, catch up tayo today, including of course dito sa hearing kanina about the OVP budget hearing. Andyan nga, kauwi na yata yung isang staff ni Madam. Yan, pero hindi pa rin nahanap si Mary Grace Piatos. Right? Magdadala tayo ng Piatos sa Mary Grace Cafe bukas. Tignan natin saan tayo madadala dyan. So let's go through the highlights kanina ng 9 hours and 53 minutes and 22 seconds at least. Base sa mga meron tayong documentation ng hearing kanina. So in the middle of all of the conversations and everything I was having in the meetings and traffic and all of that, I tried to also make sure that I catch up with some of the news and developments. Pero bago dyan, pag-usapan muna natin sa mga ibang kababalaghan din ang nangyayari sa ating bansa. So ito, yung mga ka-DDS po natin, good news. We're not just gonna talk about Donald Trump or not gonna talk about Duterte's wonderful people, amazing people. We're gonna talk about millions and millions of problems and issues. At kasama dyan sa millions and millions of problem guys ay babalikan natin si Piatos at si Mary Grace. Mamaya, speaking of Piatos guys, hindi ko lang kung sponsor nila yan, but soon I'm gonna also join you guys. Yan, Cool Pals, mag year-ender events tayo. And by the way, with sila Red Oliero, yung mga ating kasama na comedians. Siyempre, may bago na tayong career. Hindi lang tayo dancerista, hindi lang tayo zaddy, hindi lang tayo El Professor. Ano ba yung sinabi sa Wikipedia page natin? Si Darian po ay isang lahat na lang nilagay. El Professor, political analyst, yan, lahat nilagay. Self-proclaimed vlogger, kasama po dyan. Diba? Meron pa tayong play button, diba? May mga ganyan-ganyan pa tayo. So, please subscribe to my channel. Yan. Kasama pa dyan guys, isama na natin, latest appellation natin ay comedian. So, abangan yan as we get closer to our elections dahil tingnan mo naman yung mga tipong tao tumatakbo sa elections ay makes perfect sense ng ating national team na tama si Black si Girl 34. Meow 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 yan. Papunta na tayo sa meow 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 meow. Speaking of meow meow meow, ang dami yata natuwa dun guys, dun sa pinost natin the other day. Uy, inedit ko pa ng konti yan ha. Alam mo, may page na ito. Grabe tong page ng DDS page to, ang Pilipino. Grabe mang asar. Grabe mang asar. Gumagawa ng mga sama talaga. Gumagawa ng gumagawa ng pambubuli dun sa mga congressman na medyo na medyo hindi meow meow, medyo healthy version. Yung tinatawag na healthy meow. Alright. Um, wait lang ha. Sa dami pangyari. Kailangan natin mag-catch up. Hindi pa ako Oh, yeah, endorser. Tama si Noemi. Model. Yan. Mamaya, baglang mag-endorser tayo ng Piatos at Mary Grace. So, huwag kayong magtataka. At mag-endorse tayo dyan. Shoutout also to my fellow staff and faculty and friends dyan sa UP Asian Center on the 69th anniversary. More power to you. Ang hindi ko masyadong masabi na more power po ay mga ganitong tao. Eto po. Yan. Si Bong. Wait lang, ba't ako Di naman si Bong. Ano yan? Ano? Si, di na lang ako mag-comment doon na sa gitna. Diba? Yung isa, paano ba nagba-basketball tong mga to? Ang dami pang steals. Ay, sorry, dami pang assist yung isa. May daming... Dapat nga nilagay yung steals, hindi lang rebound, diba? Oh, tama na, tama na. Baka maano tayo dyan. Ma-copyright na naman tayo dyan. Walang... Ang tagal pa naman ng music na to, kikita pa sila sa video natin. Nakakainis tong... Alam mo tong nakakainis na mga algorithm. May konting music lang sa hotel background. I-monetize pa nila at our expense as if naman. As if naman. But, millions and millions. Pero actually, to be fair, bago dumating tong tatlong ano na to, three musketeers naman. Aminin natin, para sa akin of course the rot at the core of the apple, if I can put it that way, matagal na. But let's again, as I always say, don't forget, di ba? Ang dami mga memes na lumabas na back in the day, Jovito Salonga, Pepe Jokno, mga ganitong level yung mga tao, no? Tapos ngayon, biglang ito yung mga level ng senators natin. But itong deterioration, to be honest, ito sa ating quality ng kalidad ng ating Senado, especially dun sa mga iba na hindi ko parang hirap tawagin na senador, 'di ba? Or ang hirap tawagin yung Senado ay Senado, 'di ba? Dahil sa mga ibang tao. Hindi naman lahat. Pero talaga nagsimula yan gaya no. Nung nag number one si Buduts. Na by the way, tumatakbo pa rin, 'di ba? Yung Buduts lang guys, if you remember 2010 ang number one sa race, right? Way before nag number one sa race, si Robin Hood Padilla, ang nag-number one sa race ay si Buduts. Although hindi ko alam kung Buduts ginamit. Ang Buduts yata ginamit pa niya later on pa, diba? 2019 or 2016. But 2010 pa lang, nag-number one na si Bong Revilla. So doon mo pa lang guys makikita itong beginning of itong let's just call it celebrity politics on steroids, right? That's the most polite, neutral way I can put it. All right, celebrity politics on steroids. Kasi andyan naman parating celebrity politics, di ba? Donald Trump, like matagal na Reagan. I mean, like we have been having itong phenomenon of celebrities joining politics, politicians becoming celebrities. Okay lang yan, normal yan. Pero itong celebrity politics on steroids, masasabi ko talaga nagsimula yan nung panahon na nag-number one si Bong Revilla. Because back in the day, nag-number one sa Senado ay makatulad ni Jovito Salonga. Now, there's a reason why hindi ko gusto na parating purong mga Dutertes lang pag-usapan natin. Because I think if we just talk about Dutertes and talk as if Dutertes lang ay problematic sa ating bansa. And yes, of course, yes, Duterte is arguably the worst president ever. I'll discuss him shortly because isa sa ating mga kababayan na accused to be drug mule at sa ating palagay ay hindi actually drug mule, ay nabiktima, unwitting victim ng mga drug syndicates, among others ay si Mary Jane, no? Ay napalaya na po from Indonesia. So thank God. Good news. And her story and her journey tells you a lot about gaano ka but parang bitag 20 years in 10 years no, makita mo talaga dito yung difference, 'di ba? Difference in leadership and in valuing of life ng ating mga kababayan, no? Alam ko maraming mga OFW natin ng kababayan na tuwan-tuwa kay Tatay Digong, but let's be honest. All right, let's talk about some of the facts here. Although alam ko maraming iba dyan na they rather attack their fellow Filipinos rather than criticize yung mga trapo leaders, mga tatay types. But okay lang. Okay, naintindihan ko. Fanaticism. Okay, get it. Okay, whatever. Pero bago tayo pumunta dyan, focus lang muna tayo dito. Because what we're seeing right now is something very, very troubling. I always say, it always can get worse. It can always get worse. Right? It can always get worse. When you think you have seen the worst, when you think na it cannot get worse than that in terms of politics, believe me, you have still not seen the bottom of the pit, diba? if you look at yung ating kasaysayan bilang tao, ang dami mga horrific systems, political systems have emerged, including in our modern era. I'm not even talking about medieval era or ancient era and etc. No, just in modern era, look at the past 150 years, right? Or 1.5 centuries or two. No, grabe. Ang dami mga, hindi lang clowns, mga like horrible butchers ended up in positions of power and mass atrocities and killing and all of that. So, uh, what I'm saying here is that we always have to keep things in perspective, 'di ba? And kaya nga sinasabi ko minsan, huwag kayong maging politically active or huwag kayong mag-develop ng critical thinking just because you hope things will move forward ng two steps. Sometimes, political activism, sometimes working hard, sometimes, right, calling out incompetence and all of that is about making sure you don't go 5 steps back. That at least you do damage control. Because sa akin palagay, much of today's activism is really about damage control. Dahil unfortunately, alam na natin, flavor of the month dati, ngayon flavor of the year, at papunta na tayo sa flavor of the decade, and who knows, flavor of the century siguro ang mga klaseng celebrity, populist, demagoguery na nakita natin nowadays. So I think we have to really buckle up and be ready for some of these tough realities that coming in. Now, so, kasama dyan is, do not just focus on one group of people or like just Dutertes as if sila lang problematic. Do not focus only on one issue as if yun lang problema natin. Do not focus only on one institution, katulad ng Senado na sa ating palagay. This is the worst version of Senate we have seen in a long, long time. Even if we have great senators there, including senators like Rizal Ontiveros. Yes, in spite of that, unfortunately, I think the overall quality is nowhere close to where it should be. Pero sa akin palagay, it's actually even getting worse than that. There are at least two trends. And in certain cases, the two actually overlap, right? One trend is binababoy na talaga yung party list system. I mean, we have been talking about party list system being adulterated for quite some time. Yes, alam ko yan. I mean, I've been familiar with party list system for more than a decade. Since 2009-10, familiar na ako sa party list system. And I've worked with people who have been involved in party list system. Pinag-aralan ko yung party list system. Not an expert. Not an expert. It's not like I have academic articles and all of that on you know, party list systems, etc. But I'm familiar with a number of them. Pero sa aking pagbasa, sa aking palagay, no, at saka pagsusuriin mo talaga yung sitwasyon ngayon, lumalala na talaga siya. So kung titingnan mo yung party list system, sa isang banda, nakita ko kahapon habang nagdadrive ako, meron na rin party list pala mga Ilocano. Anyamat kapsat. Since when naging marginalized sector tayong lahat mga Ilocano? I mean, if there's one thing that makes me proud about being an Ilocano, as much as I'm proud of being obviously a Filipino and proud of being a Baguio boy, is that Ilocanos are among the best represented minorities in the Philippines. Kung tignan mo yung composition ng mga elites in top universities, in military at least, yung dalawang institution lang titignan mo, sa academe, sa military, we can talk about a lot of other institutions. Ilocanos, even if barely 10% of population or so, napaka highly represented at the upper echelons of society. So I don't know why, in general, you can say na mga Ilocanos ay marginalized sector for us to have our own party list. I am all for, you know, us having solid north and all of that, but not in a pro-BBM or Chavit sense. But and hindi ko rin masisisi yung ating mga kababayan na Ilocano is because naunahan na tayo ng mga ibang grupo na ethnically based. So, yan ang problema, guys. Ano ba talagang definition ng marginalized group? Kasi kung sinabi mo mga magsasaka or mangingista, medyo obvious na talagang marginalized group sila. Sobrang kulang yung investment natin sa agriculture sector natin. Sobrang kapos yung ating subsidy at suporta sa ating mga mangingista na kababayan. Kinakawawa yung ating mga mangingista na kababayan sa West Philippine Sea. Marami tayong pwedeng pag-usapan. Grabe yung kalagayan ng ating mga magsasaka. I think the average age ng isang magsasaka sa Pilipinas ay lampas sa 50, no? Halos wala sa kanilang mga anak ay gusto magsasaka na. So, and yung grabe yung cut ng mga middlemen. So, marami tayong pwedeng pag-usapan dyan. Pero, paano tayo napunta sa isang sitwasyon kung saan whole ethnic groups, tens of millions, can suddenly now be considered as marginalized, and including my people, Ilocano people, I mean, nyamet kapsat, ano yung problema? Kasano nga eh? Kasano nga eh kapsat? Naging marginalized tayo. I mean, in what sense, di ba? So, of course, may marginalized folks within the Ilocano community. Maraming mahihirap sa Ilocos, maraming tao sa iba't ibang riyon sa ating bansa na may pangangailangan. Pero para sabihin mo, lahat tayo bilang mga Ilocano or lahat tayo bilang ganito ay marginalized sector, kailangan natin ng party list. Parang, at dito talagang I would say the share of the blame is also yung Supreme Court ruling kung saan sobrang ginawang flexible yung definition ng ano yung marginalized group at sinong pwede mag-represent ng marginalized group. Kung sana talaga, minsan kung wala kang maasahan sa Kongreso or Presidente or whatever, umaasa ka sa Supreme Court at tignan mo naman yung ruling ng Supreme Court. Kung hindi ka naniwala sa akin, titignan nyo yung ruling. Tignan nyo, Google nyo yan. Yung Ilocano ako, di ba? Supreme Court ruling on the party list issue. Tsaka yung definition particular ng marginalized groups and who can represent marginalized groups. Kasi dun sa who can represent marginalized group, okay, gets ko naman yung argumento na hindi mo naman kailangan na literally na mangingista ka or magsasaka ka para pwede ka mag-represent sa kanila. Sabihin natin, for instance, alam natin si Attorney Lenny Robredo ay tumutulong sa mga marginalized communities sa Bicol. Alam natin bago siya naging congresswoman, bago siya naging vice-presidente, siya po ay isang grassroots na abogado. I'm just giving an example, bago kayo magagalit na naman, yung mga ka-DDS natin na galit kay Lenny. So, let's say, in theory, what if Lenny, of course, she didn't do it, she ran as Kamsur congressman, Naga, but the fact of the matter is, in theory, you could have said na, okay, if Lenny represented yung mga tinutulungan niya ng mga magsasaka or yung mga marginalized communities sa Bicol region or sa Naga, okay, sige. Hindi naman kailangan na siya mismo yung galing sa community na yan. As long as meron siyang track record, established track record, na tumutulong siya sa community na yan, so be it. Okay, let's give another example. Let's say, for instance, ako, kunyari, sabihin natin, magre-represent ako ng isang party list ng mga guro. Now, pwede mo sabihin, si Darian ay konyo, hindi naman yan public school teacher, nagtuturo yan sa Ateneo Lasal, ngayon sa UP, hindi naman talagang hindi naman yan naranasan talaga yung... Pero sabihin natin, dahil galing ako sa education sector, dahil sabihin natin 10 taon na tayo nagtuturo sa mga iba't ibang universidad, kahit papano meron tayong background sa education, kahit papano may publications tayo, di ba? Medyo papuntang 1,000 citation na sa Google Scholar. Medyo may konting alam sa education, sabihin natin, di ba? In theory, it shouldn't be necessarily, bakit si Darian ang nagre-represent ng mga guro? Bakit hindi exactly let's say, a public school teacher mismo? So, in that sense, nagigets ko yung argument na kailangan may konting flexibility dun sa definition ng representasyon ng mga marginalized na sektor. Okay? Gets ko yan. Pero yung nangyari kasi sobrang malawak na kung saan na tayo napunta ngayon, 'di ba? Kung saan hindi lang yung sino nagre-represent ng party list ang problematic ngayon. Ang problema ngayon is ano pa ang definition, right? Ano bang definition, 'di ba? Ano bang 'di ba? Paano natin masabi marginalized sector talaga itong grupo na to? At ngayon napunta tayo kung saan yung buong ethnic group ang sinasabi nila kailangan namin ng representation. So to be fair to my kababayan na Ilocano, di ba? Hindi naman kami nauna na gumawa ng ganitong ethnically based. Alam natin sino mga gumawa na first. Pero like, that's one. And then there's something even more interesting. And please, yung mga pa-woke natin na kaibigan, like, yan naman sabi niya, boomer. I mean, please lang. Alright? Don't give me this boomer thing. Let's see how you look in your 30s. Then come back to me and pag boomer ka sa akin. Alright? Before you're gonna ageist me, let's see how you're gonna look in your 30s. Alright? Anyway, including mid to late 30s, right? But anyway, no, ang sinasabi ko dito is, pagdating sa party list, may isa pa tayong problema ngayon. Alright? Yung isa pang problema na nakita natin ngayon is, for a while, hindi ako nagsasabi yan, sinasabi ng mga scholar katulad nila Dr. Mendoza ng ASOG, Ateneo School of Government, just to be clear, when you say ASOG, is Ateneo School of, among others, na meron silang mga magagaling na academic works on political dynasties, right? And if you look at yung mga political dynasties, napunta daw tayo from slim political dynasties, ibig sabihin mag-ama lang, mag-asawa lang, siguro yung asawa mayor, yung isang asawa congressman or whatever, vice mayor, whatever. Napunta tayo sa quote and quote. Again, please don't cancel me. Fat dynasties daw, right? Ano yung fat dynasties? Ito yung kung saan hindi lang yung mag-ina o hindi lang mag-asawa, lahat na sila nagsama-sama na. Katulad ng isa tumatakbo sa Senado, sipag at tiyaga. Tinuro po ako ni kuya, ni mommy, ni daddy, lahat nandun sa institute. Sige, magsama sa... Imagine mo yung situation kung saan apat or lima ng tao na related by first or up to second degree of consanguinity ay simultaneously occupying multiple positions within the provinces. Congressman, District 1, District 1 loves District 2. Alam niyo natin silang pinag-usapan natin. Di ba? Nag-meeting yung mag-asawa. Yung pala yung isa District 1 representative, yung isa District 2 representative, yung isang kapatid ay mayor. You know, all that nonsense, right? Yes, it's nonsense. I mean, what sense is that democracy? I remember, more than 10 years ago, wala pang Ukraine war yata nun. Of all people, a Russian came to me and said, Richard, what kind of democracy is the Philippines? I look at the officials in my barangay and it's all the same people. Sabi ko, what do you mean? It's like, everyone is the same family name. Okay, example lang Reyes, 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 Reyes. Like, and there is only one person who's not Reyes, comrade, and that person, his name is like, sabi natin Liamas. And then I got to realize Liamas is the son-in-law of the old Reyes. Sabi niya, what kind of democracy is that? Sabi ko, well, coming from a Russian, that's quite rich. And sabi niya, exactly, comrade. We know Russia is a fake democracy, but you guys pretend you're a real democracy. What is this? Sabi ko, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. Kanina may makakausap pa tayo sa ibang third world country. Bati sila, shock sila. Whether it's Latin America, Latinos or Indianos or whatever. Like even in those places, you don't have anything as crazy as this situation. Right? So it's like, comrade, Richard, what is going on? Diba? Alright, baka mapunta na tayo sa Borat. No, but seriously, that's how they talk, diba? But going back to this, so, sabi nila Ron Mendoza, papunta na tayo ngayon sa obese dynasty, kung saan hindi lang 5. Meron na, yung anak sa labas mong isa, sige, yung yung kabit mo, sige, bati yung kabit, bati yung anak ng kabit, lahat sinabay na. Ganyan ka shameless na ngayon. Di ba? Ganon ka shameless na ngayon yung mga dynasties. At yung kagandaan ng yung mga studies na ginawa nila Dean Mendoza, among others, is that pinakita din nila ang lakas ng correlation. Yes, correlation is not causation, but this is a very strong correlation. Na kung saan mas healthy, chunky yung mga dynasty, mas mahirap yung mga probinsya or lalong hindi silang nagde-develop or mas nanantili silang mahirap. Right? So, alam na natin nangyayari, di ba? Alam na natin yan, di ba? Confidential fund. So, now we're seeing something really crazy that nagkakaroon ng crossover na ngayon na itong adulteration or bastardization, whatever you want to call it, of party list system ay nagsasama dito sa chunkification. Alright? Although obese is politically correct, right? Kasi obese yung term na ginamit. Obese na daw, hindi na fat. Obese na daw yung political dynasties. Na pati kabit, anak ng kabit, lahat nandun na. Diba? So, hindi lang liamas, hindi lang sabihin natin Gamboa, Tantan, may Hidarian pa, tapos yung pala kabit pa ni ganito, ganyan. Wala na, bastusan na talaga. Bastusan na talaga yung sistema, di ba? So ngayon, may mga nagpapakita sa akin ng mga list ng nominees ng party list. Party list to Pangalan pa lang, alam mo na, scamming na parang wait lang. Paano naging marginalized? Ano ulit ang... Pero, tapos nung tinignan mo yung mga nominees, hindi lang number 1, hindi lang number 2, bati number 3, bati number 4, bati number 6, yung isa pa, kamag-anak din, number 7, lahat isang pamilya. Lahat isang pamilya. Huwag na kailangan, tagba natin. Actually, hindi lang isa yata, maraming party list na gano'n ang nakita ko na sobrang problematic. Now, of course, alam natin, after third nominee, medyo ano na yan, medyo Diwata na yan. Kasi si Diwata, fourth nominee, good luck. Unless gagawin niya, ikardema niya, papadisqualify niya lahat para makapasok siya sa, or iguanzon niya, di ba? Ibang usapan yan. But going back to this, grabe, ba't party list ginagawang ganyan? Family talaga. So, hindi lang questionable yung party list, hindi lang questionable yung representation in terms of, wala akong problema kung may charity ka, gusto mo tumulong sa tao, wala akong problema. Mayaman ka, marami kang kinita, whether sa scamming, whatever, okay, basta tulungan mo yung tao, sige, sa'yo na yan. Okay, good. Pero gagamitin mo yung party list system as a platform for that? I'm not. So yun ang talaga grabe. So just when you thought, naging ridiculous na itong party list system, kulang na lang contractors party list, or wait lang. Meron na ba tayong contractors party list? Kulang na lang vloggers party list, di ba? Lahat na lang tayo marginalized, di ba? Sige, yung mga konyo, gawa rin tayo ng party list natin kasi, di ba, nakaka-insulto ang konyo, di ba? Nakaka-hurt naman ang feelings pag sinabi mo konyo to, konyotic. Sakit naman sa feelings ko. So, mga konyo, gawin din natin ang sarili natin party list, di ba? Let's do this, right? Parang konyo party list. Para sa bahay. Ano yung mga kasi, tapos yung tinanong, ba't kayo tumakbo? Di ba ano kayo? Kasi, ganun yung mga sagot ng first nominee. Tumatakbo kami kasi. Tapos yung isa, parang kasi we need to run Tapos ganun. Ayun na, tapos yung third nominee, my goodness. Ganun ang mga, konyotic, marginalization. So, ba't yung mga konyo, especially mga konyong katulad ko na probinsyanong konyo, mas marginalized pa kami. Hindi katulad ng mga konyotics dito sa Manila. Kami mga probinsyanong konyo, mas marginalized pa kami. Kailangan pa namin ng Ako Ilocano Konyo Party List Edition. Alright? I mean, this is going there, my friend. I mean, kulang na lang, Konyo parties as my provincial version na gano'n, na mga Bicolanong Konyo, Ilocanong Konyo. Tapos, I'm just telling you. Oh, yes. No, Sonny Trillas, gawa siya ng halika na. Party list. Tapos yung symbol niya, dalawang boxing. Ganun. Ay, sabagay, may Pac-Man. Hindi, may Pac-Man na tayo, yung Pac-Man party list. So, the only little avenue we had for semi-parliamentary representation. Grabe naman, Joanna. Hindi naman kasama sa konyo si Okay. First nominee ng konyo party list. Good morning. Good morning. Tagalog ba or English? Tagalog. Kasi, we're running kasi. We feel, we feel we're being made kawawa di ba? That's sabi ng isang nominee number 2 in 20 years of my life as a konyo, never experienced this level of discrimination. Like, okay, Tagalog ba? Taglish! Yan. Tagalog ba or English? Tagalog ba or English? Pero Taglish. Yan, Taglish. Parang. Ayan, gagawa na tayo ng konyo party. I'm serious, guys. I'm literally gonna go tomorrow and talk to some election experts. Pwede ba kami mag-file ng... At ang kagandaan ng konyo party list, mayaman sila. Hindi ako, pero sila mayaman sila. Wala tayong problema. Diba? Mga konyotics. Diba? Yun, the best. Diba? Ibiza boys. Diba? Hindi kasama yung But you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? It's getting so ridiculous. And then, now on a serious note, okay? My 10 years of journalism. No, ito, guys. Ito. I'm telling you guys, this is getting crazy. Kasi, wala na tong konyo. Kasi, it's getting so, parang, yung aming lugar. Yun yung mga tel, di ba? Yung lugar. The way sabi na, yung aming lugar, tapos yung parang, tapos yung kasi, naman, yung mga, like, may mga tells yun eh. Tapos yung mga pangalan pa lang, alam mo na konyo, di ba? Miguel, Manolet. Tapos pag babae, usually, Isabel, yung mga gana, Belle, tapos Belle yung nickname, Bella, yung mga ganyan, di ba? Si Leloy, yan, isa yan. Lisandro, Leloy, yung gano'n. Alam na natin, guys, yun yung mga pangalan ng mga talagang konyotic, brigade. Kung may Ilustrado Guerra, may Konyo Brigade, yun na yun. Yung puro mga pangalan, Miguel, Manuel, Leloy, Bell, yung mga ganun. Pero alam na natin yung pangalan doon, di ba? Tapos yung mga siga, puro mga Trillanes. Saan yung mga pangalan? Okay. Balikan natin yan. No, isa pa sa nakakatakot dito. Mga kapsat ha. Yamat. Isa pa sa nakakatakot dito, guys. Ito ah. Nakikita natin, guys, ngayon. Itong situation kung saan, ibang klase naman, guys. Nasa demokrasya tayo. Pluralistic tayo. Now, ako, I'll tell you what. 100% I agree that all of us are entitled not to be besmirched, not to be slandered, not to be libelously attacked and criticized. And I'll tell you what, there were many times na ang sarap magsampa ng kaso sa mga walang hiyang patay gutom na mga bayaran na vloggers. Ito mga vloggers, alam natin na yung patay gutom na bayad, di ba? Yan, sobrang chipang na to, nagpapabayad pa, hindi lang sa mga oligarchs dito, pati sa, alam mo na, like alam na natin mga yan. Tapos sila pang kapal ng mukha kung ano nang sasabihin na gano'n. Di na natin kailangan na, di ba? Tapos kung ano nang sasabihin, tapos babastusin ka, may sasabihin sa... So, syempre, there were many times, gusto ko, alam mo, sampahan natin ng kaso ng mga patay gutom na yan para mapaano, di ba, matauhan gano'n. Pero at the end of the day, I realized, hindi, guys, at the end of the day, if you want to be a leader, right, you have to be able to take criticism and fight back. I mean, kita niyo naman, lumalaban naman ako sumasagot ako. At minsan, if it's not worth it, it's not worth it. Kung pathetic lang naman yung tao, pathetic. Bakit ko naman patulan? Minsan, tinotroll ko lang back, di ba? Pero yung kakasuin mo na ila-libel, cyber-libel mo, gano'n, I mean, it kind of goes against the spirit. So, lalong-lalo na kung ikaw ay, syempre ako in my own limited public figure, charot, di ba? But imagine you guys, kung ikaw ay tumatakbo bilang isang statesman, public service, 100% you're gonna face a lot of criticism on a lot of issues. Tapos di ka pa mayor, di ka pa congressman, or congressman ka na, gusto mo may konting may nagsinabi ng ganun, isi-cyber libel mo kaagad. Guys, come on. Now, kanina I got to know that there was this case of, a good friend of ours wrote an article, legit, on a column, and then ginamit pa ng word na alleged. Alright, alleged. Ibig sabihin, may qualifier. Ibig sabihin, hindi sinabi na final ito. Itong tao pa to, ay abogado, nag-debate, ay nag-argue before the Supreme Court, maraming alam sa buhay, hindi basta-bastang tao. Biglang kinasuhan ng cyber libel dahil kinwestiyon yung nangyari sa whatever marathon na ganyan na yan. Now, I'm not a marathoner expert, pero para sa akin, journalist or columnist or whatever, as long as you put qualifiers, you don't say na, etong tao ay cheater, period. Siyempre, if you say that, yes, ibang usapan na yan, diba? Pero may qualifier ganito, biglang next thing cyber libel na gano'n. Now, personally, in this case, I have no worries dahil, the person who's being, essentially put on the defensive right now is a top-notch lawyer. Walang problema ang taong yan. I'm sure she's gonna just take care of it and dismiss it and baka pagtatawanan lang yan sa legal circles. But, ang akin lang kasi is, I fervently hope, nung sa mga aspiring statesman, aspiring ganun, if there's you think unfair criticism, okay, do a press conference, okay, release the counter data, and let the truth take care of itself. And especially if you're facing a situation na etong tao na to ay may nilagay pang qualifiers. At please naman, di ba? Huwag naman tayo ganito na kung sino mag-criticize, ay, siguro bayaran niya ng ibang politika. Actually, that's libelous. When you say someone who criticize you, even with qualifications of allegation, sasabihin mo na politically motivated yan, actually, you're kind of being libelous because you're saying that person is bayad, right? So actually, that's libelous too in itself. But my point is, why should we even go down that road na cyber libel, whatever? So as I said, kung mga malalaking tao, they can afford it, sige, sampa rin ako, counter case, sige, magbardagul tayo. Ang worry ko kasi guys dito is, we might set a very dangerous precedence kung saan either matatakot ang tao na magsabi ng kahit ano, uy, baka ma-cyber libel tayo. Kasi syempre, sakit sa ulo yan. Kukuha ka pa na abogado, whatever. Paano kung wala kang pera? Paano kung marami kang kailangan gawin? Paano kung nag-apply ka ng trabaho, ganyan. Di ba? Sobrang, may chilling effect talaga yan. So, hindi ko sinasabi na in this case, it's a weaponization, but we have to be very clear, no? Na sana yung mga nangyaring kababalagan ng panahon ng Digong, na na-weaponize talaga yung batas na yan para takutin yung opposition. In the end, nakita naman natin, purong japix lang yung mga kaso kay Dalima, kaso kay, Maria Ressa. And, the thing with Maria Ressa is that after all of the harassment she got, it actually increased her profile internationally. Eventually, she got the Nobel Prize, right? Jointly with the Russian journalist, no? But my problem is, what's the effect dun sa mga ordinaryong netizens who do not have that profile? If an ordinary netizen faces that prospect, first of all, saan ka kukuha ng pera ng lawyers? Naintindihan mo ba yung batas? Pangatlo, kahit anong mangyari sa'yo, hindi ka naman mananalo ng Nobel Peace Prize for that, eh. Or wala ka naman international profile. So, I just don't think, guys, that's I don't think it's healthy for democracy na magkakaroon ka ng ganitong situation kung saan, 'di ba, na kung sino may sinabi na ayaw mo, i-cyber libel mo kaagad. Now, naintindihan ko yung isang party dito ay siguro na-offend or na-hurt. At sa aking pagkaalam, ang mga pasaway dyan, actually yung ibang vloggers talaga na nakisakay sa issue na yan. Siguro sila, I don't know. I am not gonna name this. I'm not gonna say na hindi ko may tatanggi na baka may ibang tao na sumakay sa issue, right? Kasi syempre, alam na natin, may paparating na elections, etc. Pero, wag naman yung ganito na konti may sasabihin tayo, cyber libel mo kaagad or whatever. Yun lang. I'm just saying, guys. Ang concern ko dito is how this could, snowball into something scary whereby lahat ng mga tao na may maraming abogado, may pera, ganon, uh, kakasuhan nila kagad yung mga tao. Tapos the next thing chilling effect, wala na nagsasalita. Di ba? Wala na nagsasalita. So, for me, sana naman yung mga tao na nag-ambisyon ng magserbisyo sa milyon-milyon na tao or even more, sana matuturin tayo na we'll give as good as we take. And it doesn't have to go down that road. Personally, I believe there should be libel pero civil, right? Kung talagang malaswat, malicious at talagang walang hiya yung isang tao, yes, there should be a civil suit. There should be responsibility. O magbayad ka ng 10 milyon, 5 milyon, 2 milyon. If I'm not mistaken, yung ating kaibigan, may co-anchor, si Atom. Si Atom Aurelio, di ba? Nagsampa siya ng kaso kay Baduy Bayan or some of the people who are tagging his mom. Okay, that's good. Wala akong problema yan. But I think it was strictly within civil damage. They kind of legally crafted it to be a civil. So I am, in principle, I believe there should be responsibility kung talagang malisyoso at talagang walang hiya. But at most, that it has to be just a civil case. No, wag yung criminal case ng ganun. Kasi you create a very dangerous precedent. Yun ang sinasabi ko. At yung ating payo naman dun sa mga ibang kaibigan natin, sir naman, let's look at me, I've been trolled right and left and all of that, and I could have afforded to at least go after a few of them with cyber libel and set the tone, but that wouldn't reflect well, diba? That wouldn't reflect well on not only on me, but also on our democracy. We should be able to take that. Now, as I said, sana papunta tayo sa isang situation na eventually civil issue na ito. And yung mga talaga walang hiyang tao na iba, na wala ng qualifier, wala ng allegation, talaga sinasabi, ito ay ganito, ganyan, then you have to pay damages. Bet ka ng 1,000,000, 2,000,000. Sige, grabe yung ginawa mo. Dahil sa ginawa mo, na-cancel yung, sabihin natin, dahil sa mga kawalang yung sinabi mo na kasinungalingan, na walang ka ng kunyari sponsor na worth 2 million pesos, mga ganun, or yung legal fees mo ganun. Okay, I get it. Right? But kasi sa panahon ngayon, dahil criminal pa rin siya, at nakita natin paano na-weaponize ni Digong, medyo nakakabahala talaga sa akin yung when people resort almost immediately sa cyber libel among others, when I think there should be room for proper discussion and conversation and pluralism, and sana hindi tayo maging onion skin, diba? Like, again, naintindihan ko na masakit talaga pag inatak ka ng tao at sa tingin mo talagang baseless. So in this case, sabihin natin yung sa marathon case, sa tingin nila baseless talaga. Okay, lay out the argument and said, walang kwenta yung sinabi ng argument kasi ito yung ebidensya. Tapos na. And let it slide, then move forward. That's it. And focus na tayo sa elections. Papunta tayo sa elections at in the race, in this case, this person's race, medyo matindi yung labanan, diba? So, focus na tayo dyan, sir. Okay. Anyway, let's see what are the other developments there. Pero para sa akin talaga nakakabahala yung mga nakikita natin trend lines, right? So just when we thought we're here, apparently we're moving here in terms of yung overall direction ng ating democracy. Now, let's go to the last part, important part. Now, as you remember, we also care to talk about the Dutertes because, in my opinion, they're still the number one problem politically in our country, but not the only problem, not the sole problem. Mas malalim ang problema natin, medyo yung ugat ng ating problema ay mas malalim sa kagagawan at mga kababalagan ng isang pamilya lamang. Pero nevertheless, kailangan ito pag-usapan itong pamilya na to. So kanina, tuloy-tuloy itong mga hearings na to. So ito, balik na naman tayo mga kapiatos, mga ka-Mary Grace Piatos. Isa sa mga interesting na lumabas kanina at oh, yun pa, tama. Red tagging also. Sobrang abusado din yung red tagging na yan. Na may konting ganun. Uy, komunista yan, NPA yan, insurrectionary yan. No? Tapos, i-apply mo na yung anti-terrorism law. Yung mga ganon, di ba? Yun ang sinasabi ko eh. Sana naman, sir, democracy tayo. At offended ka, push back, attack back. Ako nga, di ba? Babalawrain ko talaga minsan. Kung sa tingin mo talagang walang kwenta yun, talagang babalawrain kita, di ba? Yun, okay na yan, that's it. And then leave it to the people, panalo ka na. Then move on. Diyos ko, lalo kung maging executive ka, milyon-milyon tao na naman, talaga magkakaroon ng maraming kritisismo. Alam na may cyber libel natin lahat, di ba? Or will, make a case out of this para magkaroon ng chilling effect. How is that a democracy, right? Anyway, back to this. So kanina, let's go through some of the highlights. One of the highlights na lumabas kanina sa hearing ay very interesting. Ay dun sa sa signature. Ayan, mga kapiatos. Ibang klase. Oh, ito. Ito si Congressman Zia. Na-interview na.
Acknowledgement receipts are. So,
Ito na yung mga, ito na yung mga,
acknowledgement receipts then,
so alam niyo naman yung background sa acknowledgement receipts. Okay. We're trying to figure out ano yung expenditure process. Okay, ito. So, ito sa mga highlights.
Mr. Chair, na pare-pareho ang pagkasulat. At yung mga
on the deliberation, the first two...
Ito yung first, si Congressman Chua, medyo nag-level up na rin, ha?
Teka, pinistahan ko.
Ay,
The chair would like to recognize the first interpolator, Congressman Zia Alonto Adyong.
Yun. Buya ka siya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Mr. Chair, I'd like to take off from the previous discussions that we had last November 5, Mr. Chair, where the committee has already established a numerous acknowledgement receipts
Yun,
from
yung
the Office
receipts.
of the Vice President
Yun.
as well as from the Office
DepEd
Department
of Education.
These various of these acknowledgement receipts bearing no names and only signatures, Mr. Chair. Now, we have already established that in the last committee hearing. There were even acknowledgement receipts, Mr. Chair, with names that repeatedly, hindi lang dalawang beses, even thrice, tatlong beses pong nag-a-appear ito sa mga sets of acknowledgement receipts. May mga acknowledgement receipts din, Mr. Chair, na pare-pareho ang pagkasulat. At yung iba, pare-pareho yung tinta ng kanilang ballpen na ginamit. Na there have been numerous other observations, Mr. Chair, which lead this committee and at least this representation to believe na meron talagang questionable yung processes at mukhang gawa-gawa, yung itong mga acknowledgement receipts na ito, Mr. Chair. So since we started discussing about the acknowledgement receipt, Mr. Chair, there were numerous inquiries from the public asking me kung how important is this acknowledgement receipt.
Yun, sa resibo. Literally guys, pag-usapan natin ang resibo.
Pag-usapan po natin yon, and I think this is part of my manifestation before I go on proceed with my questions, Mr. Chair. Ang mga acknowledgement receipts na po ito ay isinumite ng Office of the Vice President at the Department of Education bilang documentary evidence of payment for the supposed expenses using confidential funds, Mr. Chair. For the record, and to answer the public, Mr. Chair, yung buong kabuuan po ng confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President, totaling 500 million pesos, as well as the confidential funds of the Department of Education, totaling 120 612.5 million, these amounts were liquidated, Mr. Chair, solely through the acknowledgement receipts, totaling with a grand total of 612.5 million
Yun. Puya ko
of these
siya.
public funds utilized, na ginamit na ang binigay lang sa COA as a justification for the utilization of these confidential funds ay yung acknowledgement receipts na marami ho tayong nakita in the previous hearings na medyo questionable. Yung iba ay to a point na nakakatawa, Mr. Chen. I would just like to cite an
Ayan na,
example.
mga
Let me go
kapiatos.
back to the previous again.
Ayan na.
Acknowledgement receipt that was first observed by Chairman Romy Acop.
That's it.
How many acknowledgement receipts are we talking here, Mr. Chair? No? Based on my office count, there are almost 4,500 acknowledgement receipts na nanggaling po in total, no? Both nanggaling po sa Office of the Vice President, pati rin po galing po dun sa Department of Education when the Vice President concurrently holding the office as Secretary. Roughly 4,500, 2,670 from the Office of the Vice President submitted acknowledgement receipts, and 1,820 with invoices, zero official receipts, no?
Grabe,
Lahat
no?
po ito
Daming,
acknowledgement receipts
daming gaps.
na walang attachment of proof of identity, no? Or the existence man lang na yung supposed recipients nito ay buhay or totoong tao. So this is what we find out during the previous committee hearings, and this is what I think the observation of this representation would like to find out. May I again, let me go back to the previous discussion that we had that nagkaroon din ito ng national traction. May I request COMSEC to please flash the first acknowledgement receipt that was noticed by Chairman Acop. Ayan po, Mr. Chair. Yung Mary Grace Piatos, no? Isa
Yun.
po yan sa mga acknowledgement receipt na naisumite sa Commission on COA, Commission on Audit, na alam naman po natin na yung pangalan na Mary Grace ay isang restaurant, yung Piatos ay isang chichirya. So if you ask me, medyo questionable. Kung meron pa ho talagang taong nagngangalang Mary Grace Piatos, now we could not find out whether this Mary Grace
Ayan.
Piatos is indeed a person or alive because there's no corroborate attachment to it other than the acknowledgement receipt
Ayan.
na receive natin, ang permado niya.
Ibang klase talaga.
So, Mr. Chair,
Ayan na yung receipt. O, tignan
this
nyo.
prompted, Mr. Chair, in fact, some of the members here, and I guess,
Ayan na.
members
Tignan
came
yung
out
similarities,
with
o.
a,
Tapos iba yung pangalan. Tingnan mo.
yung pabuya na kung sino man ang makakapagturo, Mr. Chair,
Galawan,
sa
ano
tao
yan.
ito,
Galawan
we
trapo
are willing
talaga.
to provide 1 million pesos as a reward for anybody who can point to us whether this Mary Grace Piatos is indeed a person and if she is really around, alive, no, Mr. Chair. Also, as Mr. Chair, another observation that I want to ask, I think it was also already mentioned during the previous hearings, that there are names appearing in both the acknowledgement receipts from
Yun.
the OVP and as well as from the Department of Education. Pero may isang pangalan na nag-stand out sa akin among all the acknowledgement receipts na sinumite nila. So, Mr. Chair, just to maintain the confidentiality of the activities, assuming there were any such activities, Mr. Chair, I would just like to show to you the signature of
Ayan na.
this particular acknowledgement
Propose
receipt
natin
which
yan.
I
Ayan.
noticed, Mr. Chair. No? May I request our COMSEC to flash the second? Ayan po. Ito po yung acknowledgement receipt. Galing po yan sa Office of the Vice President. Yung set po na sinubmit. Gusto ko lang pong tanungin ang ating COA. Mr. Chair, is Ms. Camora present?
May we know if
Here?
Kamok.
representative from COA is present? Attorney Camora?
Saan ni Kadema?
Saan?
Cardema.
Yes,
Cardema.
Attorney Camora is present.
Grabe. Karap. Yan ang sinasabi ko, pag iba talagang tatak, Duterte. Iba talaga magtatak. Next level po. Sa lahat ng sinabi ko kanina, medyo next level pa rin tong mga to eh. That's it. Ayan.
Attorney,
Anong defense natin?
Comsec, can you please flash the... you have already taken your oath, man, no? Kasi several times ka naman umattend, na, Attorney Camora. Tama po ba? Yes. Can you... Yeah,
Attorney
please.
Camora, please answer.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Nakita niyo naman po itong ano, no? Acknowledgement receipt, no?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Sa palagay niyo, nababasa niyo po ba yan, yung pangalan dyan?
It's, I think, Kokoy Villamin po.
Yeah, Kokoy Villamin received on, ano ba yan, 9, no?
September
7, 2023, no? So, itabi lang po natin yan for the meantime. And I'd like also to show you another acknowledgement receipt, this time from the Department of Education. Mr. Chair, can I ask Comsec to, yes. On the left side, with black ink, that's from the OVP. On the other side is from DepEd. Okay, pakibasa po yan, yung pangalan din po dyan sa DepEd.
Yun.
Parang parehas po, Mr. Chair, Kokoy Villamin.
Parehas. Parehas po, no?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oo. Ibig sabihin, the point I'm trying to drive at, Mr. Chair, is that based on the documents and the acknowledgement receipts, which we do not have any other ways to really affirm whether these persons and individuals who have received the confidential funds were truly alive and truly person, makikita po natin yung medyo hindi ko kapanipaniwala. Ako, ordinaryo po ako na tao. I'm not an auditor, but as you can see it, pareho po yung pangalan nila, Kokoy Villamin, yung acknowledgement receipt from the Office of the Vice President, and at the same time, from the DepEd, the same person, Kokoy Villamin, from Osamis, no? Sa palagay niyo po ba yan? Kung titingnan po natin, Mr. Chair, sa palagay natin, common ba yung pangalan na, Mr. Chair, Ms. Camora, ay, yung pangalan na Kokoy Villamin?
Mr. Chair, parang hindi po since hindi, para siyang nickname yung Kokoy po.
So, masasabi niyo po ba as a head or nag-audit ng Intelligence Confidential Funds Audit Office, masasabi niyo po ba yan na isang person yan?
Pwede po, Mr. Chair.
Yun lang.
Pwede?
Pwede po.
Pwede.
Pwedeng isang person, no? Is it just a coincidence that the same two offices heading by the same person submitting to you the same acknowledgement receipts
Ayan na, bookingan na
can
tayo.
encounter two persons? How unlikely would that be? Two persons with the same
One
name,
in a
bearing
zillion.
the same spelling, same last name, with the same first name. Posible
Yeah.
po po yan?
Yari tayo dyan.
Medyo likely
Not.
less possible.
Yeah, I think it's highly unlikely, Mr. Chair, na yun po yung mangyayari, no?
Yan tayo.
Kung titingnan niyo po ba yan, Ms. Camora, yung sulat po ba dyan pagkapareho?
Hindi po.
I think it's very obvious, Mr. Chair, that the signatures, Mr. Chair, on the acknowledgement receipt submitted by the Office of the Vice President is quite different from the acknowledgement received by the Department of Education, no? Parehang pangalan, pero mukhang magkaiba
Yeah.
ang tinta. Mr. Chair, this is just one of the examples that we have received, no?
100%.
From the office from the COA, no? Yung sinabit po nilang acknowledgement receipt, Mr. Chair. Now, is it true, Mr. Chair, that I'd like to ask Attorney Camora, is it true, Mr. Chair, na magkaiba po yung auditor nung sa OVP at saka the same sa Department of Education?
Parang that time po.
Yung resident auditor ni po nila, magkaiba po, no?
Yes po.
Oh,
Yung
magkaiba.
President Auditor,
Yes, magkaiba.
definitely magkaiba po.
Kasi kung isa po yung auditor nito, I think malalaman po nila ito and they will be flagged, no? Kung bakit magkaparehong pangalan and magkaiba yung signatures. Exactly the same spelling and exactly the same family name. Tama po ba?
Tama po, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think, Mr. Chair, this is something that we should look into. The reason why I'm pointing this out, Mr. Chair, and for the public's information, ito po yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. Dahil unang-una po, with this kind of itong pag-aabuso sa ganitong proseso ng pag-audit na ibibigay lang po nila is acknowledgement receipts, it gives us so many, it provides us so many, and it opens up so many floodgates of questions.
Right.
Which I believe, yun yung pinaka-importante po na masagot. Dahil these are public funds utilized, and these are funds na readily available for their request. Tapos ganito yung nakikita nating mga reports nila at saka pag-acknowledge ng kanilang pag-utilize ng kanilang pondo. It's very obvious, Mr. Chair, na hindi lang po si Mary Grace Piatos ang nakita po nating questionable. Nakikita din po natin na may mga acknowledgement receipts, Mr. Chair, na pare-pareho yung pangalan, na magkakaiba yung date, na magkakaiba yung kanilang pirma, Mr. Chair. So it begs the question now, how do we be able to supply answers to this question? But even if we ask COA here, mayroon bang attachment na sinubmit sa inyo to verify whether this was given as a way to purchase information, or is it a reward payment for an information that is relevant to the activity of the Office of the Vice President or the DepEd in relation to confidential funds? Kasi magkaiba po yan eh.
Mr. Chair, acknowledgement receipts po ang sinubmit nila, and
Acknowledgement receipt po, ano po yan? That's the payment for information, purchase of information, or yung reward?
Both po, Mr. Chair, acknowledgement receipts ang sinubmit nila for both information and rewards. It's just that sa rewards po, may additional requirement lang po kaming hiningi.
Yung rewards pa, di ba? Ang laki ng
report,
million din
acknowledgement
yan.
receipts were not supported by
Yun
a
nga eh.
certificate of success. Hindi ba? Kasi magkaiba po yan, Mr. Chair. Pag yung purchase of information, regardless whether this information are useful or not, talagang bibilin mo lang yan. Diba? But the reward and payment for the information, dapat po yan may certificate of success. Hindi ho ba? Doon sa agencies po na pinagpartneran, for example, ng inyong opisina. Tama po ba yun, Attorney Camora?
Tama po, Mr. Chair.
And all of these acknowledgement receipts were being supported by the certificate of success?
Mr. Chair, yung sa rewards lang po.
Yeah, but on not all of this, in this particular case na sinad ko po sa inyo, are you familiar with this kind of acknowledgement receipts? Or have you came across this particular questionable acknowledgement receipts?
Yan po yung mga na-review namin dati, although at that time, Mr. Chair, wala naman po sa
Yeah,
namin na
that's why. Yeah, that's why you have issued yung observation memorandum ninyo. It's precisely because they have failed to at least provide you the attachment to verify or at least to authenticate that indeed these funds that were used for a reward or payment of reward were not substantiated by a certificate of success. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So again, Mr. Chair, begs us the question, gaano kalala yung pag-aabuso dito sa office
That's it.
confidential funds? I think we have just started.
So that's it, guys. Meron na ngayon judgment na talaga may abuse na nangyari. So this is not just an expose of basic facts. Papunta na tayo sa situation kung saan there's already an explicit judgment of pang-aabuso na nangyari dito. So, yung mga mga DDS natin dyan, yung mga paninira na yan, guys, maya kayo sa balat nyo. Hindi lahat ng bagay paninira. Dahil lang nabubuking, yung isang kulto or nabubuking yung isang iniidolo, kahit nabubuking yung isang trapo na gustong-gusto nyo, ay hindi paninira yan, guys. Look at the facts, okay? Now, obviously there's gonna be always a hopeless minority na talaga, kahit end of the world na, ganyan pa rin sila. But of course, the important thing here is yung majority ng mga kababayan natin, yung mga median voters na hindi masyadong invested sa isang party, hindi partisan. Yung mga tao talaga na, parang yung gano'n, yung may common, simple, reasonable people, right? Average, reasonable people. Yun ang dapat target nila. Kaya, ngayon, nakikita natin na papunta na tayo kung saan yung mga congressman openly sinasabi nila na may mukhang abuso na talaga nangyari yun. Kasi usually parang Socratic lang yung method eh. Just asking questions and essentially allowing, yung the other side to fall on their own parang Ajax, 'di ba? To fall on their own hammer, right? Or fall on their own sword, 'di ba? So ito yung nakikita natin dito na papunta na tayong situation kung saan meron ng public explicit judgment na something is really wrong. So it's spell out na kumbaga, lalo na doon sa mga kababayan natin na mukhang medyo hindi pa rin nagigets.
All of these problems and all of the questionable acknowledgement received. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, Mr. Chair. If we go
Yun,
deeper
ito
into
pa.
this,
Tip of the iceberg lang.
widespread po ang nangyaring pag-abuso sa pondo po ng ating gobyerno, Mr. Chair. So far as the utilization of confidential funds is concerned on both the Department of Education and the Office of the Vice President. Hindi lang ho si Mary Grace, ang sabi ko nga po, hindi lang ho si Mary Grace.
Nakakatakot. Alam mo, yun ang gawain nila sa Davao, nakakaawa yung
Meron din
Davao.
pong mga pangalan na pare-parehong nag-appear po on both acknowledgement receipts, Mr. Speaker, coming from the Office of the Vice President as well as from the Department of Education. Mr. Chair, just a manifestation, and I believe there are questions relating to this that my colleagues would also like to ask the COA, and I would yield to my colleagues to further inquire kung paano po ito nakalusot at saka ano po talaga yung nature ng pagbibigay ng acknowledgement receipts, which I believe, to my mind, Mr. Chair, is open to abuse, Mr. Chair. And the new process po ng pagganito kung ganito, if we allow this to continue on, talagang maabuso at prone talaga po sa mismanagement ng pondo na binibigay po sa mga ahensya. Particularly, Mr. Chair, ito pong discussion natin ng utilization ng confidential funds ng Department of Education while the Vice President was still holding the agency as the Department Secretary. Marami pong salamat, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Attorney Camora.
Thank you, Honorable Zia Alonto.
Okay. You can check the rest of this. I can also send to you mga highlights sa mga other things, guys. So ito. So nakikita natin na papunta na tayo sa exciting part, 'di ba? Parang medyo parang season 1, I think papunta na tayo sa season 2, right? Ang tanong lang whether season 2 will be the finale. Ang worry ko lang dito ay dalawa essentially, no? Yung isang nakakabala dito is baka naman gagamitin naman ng mga politiko. Hindi ko sinasabi, I think Congressman Zia, among other things, I think he's doing a good job. I mean, this is a person who was also at the forefront of, speaking for the for the people of Marawi in the midst of all of the kapalpakan na nangyari ng panahon ng Digong. Remember, it was under Duterte's watch that a bunch of terrorists took over the whole city, and within 5 months pa lang natalo sila, and by that time sirang-sira na yung syudad na yan, no? So, the AFP, our brave patriots, already had actionable intelligence. I know it for a fact because I talked to people who already know it, and they were comfortable enough to tell me, all right, off the record. It was the kapalpakan, dahil sa kapalpakan ng Digong, dahil napaka-distracted niya, dahil napaka-sabog niya, dahil napaka-incompetent niya, he allowed a bunch of terrorists to take over the whole city and completely destroyed the city. And I went there years after supposedly liberated the Marawi. Well, liberated at least to a certain degree from those Maute and all of that. But reconstruction, walang kakwenta-kwenta yung ginawa ng panahon ng Digong, di ba? Now, that doesn't mean okay yung ibang administration. I'm just saying, yung mga ka-DDS natin na proud kay Digong, ang lakas ng loob mag-criticize ng ibang tao, ang lakas ng loob na magsabi na galit sila sa corruption or whatever. Tingnan na naman yung nangyari. Tingnan naman kababalagan na nangyari sa DepEd. Tingnan naman kabalastugan ng nangyari sa mga receipt na yan, sa mga ganun yan. Tapos sasabihin niya paninira, maya naman kayo sa balat niyo, maya sa is na kayo dyan. At dito, siguro naawa na rin ako sa mga taga Davao. Kaya sabi ko, Davao deserves better. Davao is a great city. Davaoenos are great people, intelligent people, wonderful people. I mean, as a Baguio boy, Diba? I know exactly na hindi lang sa Manila ang mga galing. Siyempre sa amin din maraming magaling sa Cebu, sa Lawag, I can go on, Iloilo, Bicol, whatever. Uh, Kaya nga, you deserve better than that. Buti nga, thank God, wala na kaming ganyan sa Baguio. Now, of course, Mayor Magalang is not perfect, but Mayor Magalang is not the kind of dynasties that used to have, or actually in Baguio, we never had the kind of Garapalan dynasties that unfortunately some of our kababayan have. Kaya nga mas maayos yung politika, at saka mas maayos ang governance sa Baguio. For everything you can say about Baguio traffic, whatever. Sorry, I'm very proud of Baguio. Mas maayos sa Manila, obviously. But, you know what I'm saying? Talaga Davao deserves better. If this is the reflection of the Davao style of Duterte's running the show, ay nako, you can do much, much, much better than that. So yung paninira yung mga excuse niyan, laos na yan. Okay? Now, yes, maraming trapo iba, oo. Pero sigurado niyo, hindi kayo yung pinakamalaking trapo bago kayo magsalita ukol sa ibang tao. May ibang kapalpakan na ibang administration, of course. Pero bago kayo magsalita, ayusin yan. Sigurado hindi kayo mga pinakapalpak, di ba, ng presidente nung time niya yan, di ba? So, yun yung konteksto dito. And then the other thing, of course, I want to see here, as I said, is sana hindi lang purong hearing lang yan kasi free airtime. Di ba? Kasi February po tayo mag-start officially. Sana naman hindi ginagamit ito pang free airtime or grandstanding. Hindi ko sinasabi niya yan nangyari, but if this thing keeps on going and going until January and wala pa rin any decisive action, kung talagang itong mga ebidensya, resibo, all of anomalies na sinasabi, totoo, then wala na tayong, medyo magdududa na tayo, ano ba nangyari dito? Pakit lang ba? Grandstanding lang ba? Or talagang papunta tayo sa exciting part na talaga for the last part? Alright. On that note, thank you very much mga kameta. Maraming salamat. In the coming days, try natin tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung RRM. Last week was amazing. The other day was amazing. We had Kristan, we had Justice Carpio, we had Ronald, we had Mark. Talagang the full, right? The full range was there, right? So we'll try to replicate it and hopefully as soon as possible also arrange in person again with Sir Ronald among others. Tomorrow on my own show, The View from Manila, check it out. Nakadalawang interviews na tayo from people based in Washington, D.C. Dr. Long from more progressive think tank and Dr. Satu, also my other friend from another very major think tank, East West Center think tank. I had them on my show. There'll be a couple of other US-based experts on our show. But tomorrow also, hopefully, interview rin natin ng mga vloggers. Hindi lang si Mark, pati si Ellie. Yan, marami tayong mga exciting people na pag-usapan. Tingnan natin kung si Rosemar, yung mga ganun, tingnan natin down the road. But on that note, thank you very much guys. Maraming salamat. At doon sa ating mga pikon na DDS, sana mamulat kayo. Yan, napakagaling ng leader nyo. Kamusta ang mga totoong drug lords? Sabi nga ni Trillanes, ang totoong drug lord talaga ay, yan. At kung titingnan mo gaano kakorap yung isang Trapo dynasty dyan, alam na natin yan. Okay, Ian Pablo, kumita ka ng 20 pesos. Congratulations sa troll farm nyo. Pwede ka na ma-promote sa colonel rank sa troll farm. Alam na natin yan. Made in Beijing. On that note, thank you very much. God bless and